Hello, everyone. Happy to be here with you. And after this relaxing music, I hope to wake you up a little bit. I'm starting with a quick introduction about myself. This is my happy family that is keeping me busy when I'm not at work. 5 young ladies with a different set of problems, from diapers to how a teenager is looking like. But what I like to do in my free time is to do a lot of water sports. Here I'm free diving, and you can understand escaping a little bit from the family routine and the business routine. What I like there is just prepare for the last breath, and then go under the water, start swimming, and then you go down, and the pressure is compressing your body. The body is becoming smaller, so you start sinking. And when you sink, you fall in the water like flying. You go down, and everything is around you, like more blue around you. And in that moment, then you start feeling the urge of breathing again. How do you manage that? You need to manage your body, the pressure around you, you're alone, and you need still to swim 30 meters high, like 7, 8 floors of a building, just to finally get out. And I believe that this is a perfect training to manage pressure in a corporate life. So that's why I use that as a way of training myself. And in the lower part, you can see how I was reinvesting these skills in my career, jumping between industry and consulting many times. I joined Danone in 2020 during the pandemic, and now I'm leading this industrial excellence team. So what is gonna be the presentation today is how we will start getting inspired by reading this book. If you know it, it's how you can resetting your ambitions and be very specific about what are your dreams. The good part of that is that when you have dreams and you want to be specific, it's like a little bit scaling new heights and like planning hiking. So that was taken as an inspiration for our mission, and this is Danone company mission, bringing health through food to as many people as possible. It's a good ambition for us to work, and so let me just introduce the company in few moments. So Danone is a multi-category company that is operating in 3 main areas: the part of dairy and plant-based goods. So you might know very well some of the brands here, in particular North America. I think that Silk and International Delight are quite common. But we are also number 2 in the world for bottled water. And we have a division that is specialized also in baby food and in medical food. So what happened to this company? Happened that we had a declining market till 2022, when a new management was starting a new course of action. And what I will be focusing in this presentation is what happened from 22 to now. Okay? The first element that were just for us alarming were declining in volumes and in gross margin, mainly also boosted by the post-COVID inflation that we had. So first step has been stabilizing volumes and start regaining profitability, and then to start working, combining volume growth and margin growth. So this has been the journey that was moving the company from being very defensive and facing issues in the market to create a completely different set of value. And this is gonna be the focus for today. Talking about Danone's operations, we are talking about roughly 45,000 Danoners, more than 150 production sites, and 300 distribution centers. So just to give you a reference, we are here in North America. In the US, we have 14 factories and 1 in Canada. But then Mexico is having roughly 30 production units. And just to give you the magnitude of the network outside Europe, in Europe we have 42 factories. All the rest is in the other regions. What has been the focus for us and the framework to work? It's this framework. We call it the 4C framework. So everything we are doing in operations is either pointing at increasing the customer centricity of our operations, work on cost advantage, cash efficiency, and carbon reduction. This has been, let's say, the mantra of our activities. I will cover these 4 areas in my presentation, how to build the right capabilities and to boost performance for that. So let's start for the first C, which is our customer centricity. That has been leading us to redefine our supply chain operations on these macro blocks, okay? So better forecast and demand, more agile supply chain, working on advanced planning to be faster in responding to the consumer needs, and have a much more intense and intentional collaboration with our clients, the retailers. So here 4 concrete actions that were taken. One was a strong refocus on case fill rate. Not a good novelty, let me say, in the industry. For us, the main point was not start measuring CFR, was to start shifting all our metrics on the consistency of this indicator. Means that on a weekly basis, we needed to score above a target, and we were using, let me say, the consistency of delivering week after week of this indicator as the main driver for our supply chain. Then, obviously, network capacity creation in 2 different elements, directly in the scope of my team, release capacity in the current assets and building new capacity. These 2 elements combined were redefining also the shape of the network for us, also requiring transformation and closure and opening of factories around the world. To sustain point number 3 on fewer, better, and bolder innovation on products done with our colleagues and with our ecosystem of partners. So this Partner for Growth program is the program that our purchasing colleagues were putting in place to have a long-term collaboration with our strategic suppliers and to build co-innovation together with them. And then last element here, obviously, AI and machine learning cannot miss, in particular on the smart planning part. A big effort has been done on the demand side. Very different success cases around the world. I was just thinking to present here a success case in Spain, where we were able to accelerate the time of forecasting by almost 40 times, increasing the granularity by client, SKU, and point of sales. So even increasing the granularity of forecasting, we were able to minimize the time of elaboration of the data. And in US, we were happily gaining 10% point of forecast accuracy, being able much better to anticipate demand fluctuations. But staying on the point number 2, what happened on the industrial side, well, we were launching a completely integrated program of IWS, Integrated Working System, in partnership with Procter & Gamble, and Digital and Manufacturing Acceleration Program. These 2 elements are now designed to be completely complementing one each other. And the overall increase, let me say, has been in the first 6 months of the launch on each line to gain from 5 to 7% OE and 10-15% production volumes, getting overall a very positive payback below 2 years on that. And on the right side, you can see the amount of savings delivered also via digital transformation, digital tools that were boosting our operational efficiency in the factories, and having also the first certification by the World Economic Forum as the first lighthouse, digital lighthouse in dairy, and one of the few in the food and bev industry. So that has been a journey that has been bringing on 2 sides, customer centricity and better capacity and volumes delivered to our markets, and efficiency. which is a segue to the second C, which is our cost competitiveness, which has been working along the supply chain in a very integrated way, also with design to superior value methodology. So let me just cover that. We redefine completely just one integrated program to deliver productivity in all the operations field, and we call that Horizon program. This Horizon program has been boosting our ability to deliver productivity, moving from an historical 4 to 5% to exceed 7% productivity on cost reduction on the full cost base of the cost of goods sold. The second element is how to design product to superior value, okay? Mainly using two levers, cost out and value in. So the cycle has been start looking at what the consumers are telling us about our product, what are the consumer insights, go in the specification of the product, and in the SKU design in the plant, analyzing what can be remodulated in the product in order to increase the value perceived and to reduce the elements that were not perceived by our consumers as a real value. And this kind of cycle has been obviously helping to streamline internal processes, batch sizes, and simplification also in the materials, and increasing the quality levels that were really perceived by our consumers. Third element that might be interesting, we started cracking milk in order to extract all the potential value out of a single drop of milk. And this using filtration techniques mainly to be able to be discriminating and differentiating all the different dairy ingredients that we can take out of that. This was shifting Danone from a consumer of dairy ingredients to a producer of dairy ingredients. So in a way, now we are happily also competing with our suppliers on the same market, which is dairy ingredients. Entering a little bit more in our Horizon program, I told you unified program to deliver productivity. I want to mention the 8 streams that are part of this program. So we are having packaging and product reformulation, suppliers negotiation, milk balancing and valorization of milk, energy consumption optimization, entering more in the industrial side, manufacturing and co-manufacturing excellence, manufacturing labor management, battle against waste, and all the part of logistic excellence. All these 8 streams are, let me say, mapping completely all the part of the productivity on the supply chain, and each of those was helping, let me say, to deliver this 1 billion productivity last year that equals to 7.1% overall productivity. That is somehow helping us to go in the next chapter, which is cash. And in order to work on cash and to be also presenting back to the investment market a more positive cash equation, well, the 3 blocks on the left were absolutely instrumental. So all the part of inventory management, resetting payables, and CapEx efficiency. Just to give you a few numbers regarding that, looking at days in hands, we were moving from an historical 60, 62 days to current 56, and a target in 2 years to land at 50. And already now, in 2024, as you can see, we were increasing roughly by, it was roughly 50%, the cash generation of the company, and that was helping us to break the wall of 3 billion net cash impact that was significantly perceived by the market. And the last C is the C that is very close to the heart of Danone with this kind of sustainability mission. The sustainability mission is part of the heritage and the legacy of the company. Danone is the biggest B Corp certified company in the world. And we take the inspiration of that from this important statement that was given by the former CEO of Danone in 1972. He was saying that the company responsibility doesn't stop at the factory gate or the office door. And in that sense, the sense of responsibility and impact in the society and the environment that Danone wants to represent and to embrace, he is represented by this wheel. I think it's a very nice framework because he's able to represent in these three different segments our commitment to bring health through food for consumers and patients. And so that is the impact on our consumers. The impact on people and communities. We are operating in local communities and we are sustaining directly local communities around our factory operations, distribution centers, R&I centers, and offices. And then obviously there is the part of nature impact. And for all of us in this forum, the part of nature is so vital to have also good products that we are transforming and offering to our consumers. Interestingly, if you're looking at the carbon impact, I think that the picture is quite similar also for a majority of you. This is our baseline in CO2 emission. So 1 million out of 22 is the one that we are directly generating in our operations in scope 1. 21 is scope 3 emissions. And if we are looking at 14 million out of that is in flag. So what is in forest, land, we say agriculture and ground environment overall, air and ground. And that means that in order to work on that emissions, working along the supply chain is so important, and it's just making the difference on truly delivering an impact or just claiming that. So in order to give you a concrete case regarding this collaboration along the supply chain, I selected the methane pledge because Danone is the first food company that was taking the commitment to work on a reduction of methane. And that commitment was presented by our CEO to the United Nations last year, being completely integrated in the 1.5 degrees journey that as a UN we try to offset. So controversial topic, but for us very close to our heart, and in particular, difficult to tackle because we are not emitting methane. But obviously, the biggest contributor in the world of methane is in the dairy industry, obviously, are cattle. And you can see that this is mainly coming from enteric fermentation in the cows and the manure. And so we defined a program of animal welfare and herd management with more than 120 professionals in our network that are working with the farmers and are introducing best practices to the farmers in order to work on that element. So there is a strong activity on the ground in order to be able to also to reconvert our upstream supply chain and to be able to generate this positive impact. This because if we are moving from this 1972 speech to nowadays, this is the new mantra of the company by Antoine de Santafrique, our CEO, actual CEO. And he's saying that sustainability without business performance has no impact. And that was the problem of Danone 3-4 years ago. Looking a lot on sustainability, but lacking good performance and so suffering the market. At the same time, business without sustainability has no future. So that's why our dual mission and our commitment to be able to fulfill this dual target. Which is leading to the conclusion of the presentation with a little bit of numbers, where we are now, okay? This is the equation of the recurring operating margin in 2024. So you can see that on top of the marginality of 23, there was a huge contribution from operations in terms of generation of additional margin that we decided to reinvest in advertisement and promotion. So in the second bucket, that is obviously our decision to reinvest in A&P and innovation, sustaining now the volume growth that is so well coming quarter after quarter. And this was really well perceived by the market since, since the moment of the restart of the strategy, the capitalization of the company has been growing by roughly 60%. But more than looking at these numbers, I was deciding to show you a short video that is our internal video on what is making us proud of in operations, which is a good summary of what happened along this journey. So that's a little bit of a summary of what happened on these years, moving from our dreams to our route and journey to be, scaling these heights. And we are proudly convinced that now mountains is high enough. And to be honest, this is partly because this is part of the European Alps. We know that we are not so competitive in terms of heights, but it's beautiful, right? There is this kind of pink sunset, and some of you might spot already that this is the mountain where our Evian water is coming. So looking for a new source of inspiration, there are other mountains that we can try to climb. And so that's my final picture. Some of you might recognize that. It's the famous Half Dome in the Yosemite National Park. And if you are looking better here, you can understand that someone took inspiration from this mountain for his logo, and someone else is still in the journey of climbing that mountain and is speaking with you today. So that's me, just 2 months ago. Thank you very much. I think we are giving the floor for a good session of questions. I was bombarding with elements. I guess that is a good way now to provide more details.
When you talk about your planning journey to have a better forecast, this is one thing that we know that it's a perfect forecast is impossible. What is the balance between having the right systems, the FMWS, and agility versus investing on advanced planning and forecast accuracy? So how do you balance these two things? And on your forecast, have you decided to build solution in-house or to partner to buy versus build?
Okay, so the question was how to balance having a good system with having good tools somehow, and then who are the partners, or if we build that internally. I think that in Danone we've been working on both axes, because Danone was historically a company that was very decentralized and having a lot of responsibility in the different countries, also defining processes and systems. That was a mistake in the past. We realized that. And now we are rebuilding all the processes in a way that are integrated and somehow interlinked. But doing this, we realized two problems. Number one is the amount of data that you need to process, in particular in planning. And related to that, the speed of this activity. So what was generating the biggest impact was when we realized that we could speed up the planning process and iterate that every day, for instance, instead of having a weekly planning. That was dramatically changing our ability to react fast to what happened in the market, and then so to follow the demand in a more close way. So we try to work on both. I think that we are still investing a lot also in the core systems and the overall process behind. In terms of tools, this part of machine learning that I was presenting has been built by us with some data scientists on a base of SAP IBP, Integrated Business Planning. And we are in a journey of implementing end-to-end planning on O9 solution. It is taking longer also due to the size and complexity of that.
Thanks for sharing your 4C model. I think that it's pretty interesting. So my question is, I was saying thanks for sharing the 4Cs model. I think that the information is pretty interesting. So my question is related to the first pillar, customer centricity. So you say that in order to have a successful innovation, you guys work very close with the customer. What are your main principles in order to assure that the innovation will be something successful? The main principles that your guys following in Danone. So
we've been working in the two directions of the supply chain. On one side with our customers, on the other side with our suppliers. With our customer, we set a program that we called Power Couple. And we start spending much more time from our operations colleagues, not sales colleagues, at the operations of our customers. Doing this, we will start having tables on root cause analysis of their problems and try to understand how many of their problems were potentially in our hands. And this has been establishing a much stronger relation with our customers. And that has been recognized also in the US, for instance. The retailers were voting Danone as #1 supplier for the overall level of service that we were able to provide. But because actually we were resetting the conversation, looking operationally at what were the problems that they were suffering. On the other side, this Partner for Growth initiative is somehow directed by our procurement colleagues. We have different elements in place, long-term agreement that are giving us, we say, commonly a good ground of innovation, and also innovation funds. So what Danone historically did was instead of squeezing every euro or dollar in the negotiation, then to give back a part of the negotiation back in the hands of the supplier as innovation fund. And this innovation fund needs to be converted in services or man-hours that the supplier is dedicating to us. So the mechanism is now working well and is generating a good, let me say, relation in terms of proposal. And the supplier is also always having, let me say, also the availability for POCs, trials, and what we might need.
Thanks for sharing your transformation journey. In the strategy, I don't see specifically people and during these transformations or culture renewal, it's quite difficult or to change the behavior. So what do you do regarding that?
You're absolutely right. If we are going back to the 4C quadrant, is part of the enablers that we have in the middle, which is health and safety, quality, and people. On the people side, as you said, there was a lot that happened in these years. I think that three elements, to be completely fair, were making a difference. The redefinition of what are the behaviors that a company is believing and part of our values, and the translation of these behaviors in concrete observations that we can observe in all our daily job. A part of redefinition of the skills. So we launched a dance skills program, and this dance skills program is encompassing of, let me say, for my area, the redefinition of the tool, the overall framework of capabilities for operations, and industrial operations in particular. New digital training. So by the end of next year, we will have trained 45,000 people on digital tools, at least the basic level. And we redefined completely the journey of a plant leader. A plant director is a key position in the organization that has the same relevance as a GM of a country in terms of people that is managing and business impact that is generating. We realized that, in particular, when I was speaking with the CEO of North America or Indonesia, the reference in mind for a plant leader was completely different. Completely different, the grading. We have an internal grading of the positions, and we were going from senior vice president to supervisor-like in the different geographies, and also with different, let me say, expectations in terms of capabilities and skills. So we redefined all this, and to be honest, we took inspiration from what P&G did in the past. We redefined a journey of 18 months with all the training modules. After the training modules, the proof in the numbers of the factory and in the activities in the ground that the training was successful, and a certification after that. So our 150 plant directors now are in this journey of recertifying their capabilities in order also to be equalizing and calibrating for the role. For instance, when we're talking about external community engagement, what do we expect from a plant leader? What is the type of dialogue that you should have with the mayor of the city, with citizen activists, so what is the type of activity that also they should embrace in all these elements? The same for social dialogue with unions is another very big field where everyone was just using his own creativity, to be honest, just a few years ago. The third lever, so I was saying, behaviors, skills, and the third lever was a complete reset of the performance and compensation of the company. There was a disconnect between individual performance and company performance. I was surprised personally because in 2021, our CEO was pushed out of the company from an activist fund because there was not enough short-term results delivered by the company. And I personally received almost 200% my bonus. Okay? So the company was so broken that you have the leader that is completely dismissed for being underperforming, and the people inside the company is receiving 200% of the bonus. So that was also needed to be re-articulated in a good way. I hope that this is clarifying it with a picture that was quite big. Sir, sorry, with the mic.
So congratulations, a great performance. Did you do projections, and how close did you come to your projections within those 3 years? Because you made some substantial gains. So when you set out on the mission, did you say, here's where we'd like to be? And if so, did you beat it by how much?
Everything that I showed you was built on projection except the stock value. So the market value is not subject to any projection, and also when we are teasing our CEO and our CFO where we should be, they are not answering the question. They say, this is a result of what we are doing. It's not a target, okay? So all the rest was obviously having a clear target. For the industrial part, I was moving personally the overall company from a 65% OE to a 71% OE in 3 years, so gaining 5 to 6% points across the network. And everything that was somehow start committing on a target that is always stretching and with a portion of, oh my God, I don't know how I will do this part, and then trying to be as close as possible to that. But yes, the productivity target of 1 billion, 7% productivity, all these elements were obviously part of the plans, also of the commitments to the market, and we were consistent enough to deliver that. Thank you very much.
Look, thank you. Giovanni flew from Europe to come here and spend time with us. I think it was very inspiring. I took a lot of learnings, a lot of notes here. So thanks, Giovanni. If you have the opportunity, engage with him during lunch.
I will be here this afternoon. Thank you.